Welcome to the Country Scroller. In today's episode we'll be making a cool bowl. And now we'll go over to the workbench and start working on this.
Alright, for this bowl I don't really have anything to show you what it'll look like, but the pattern we'll be using is one of the wobble bowls from Steve Good's Patterns, and we'll be using it to base the shape of this bowl off of, and how it'll actually look I don't really know because I haven't made what I'm going to be making. So that's the pattern we'll be using. The idea for this bowl is off of a book by Carol Rothman, and the idea is gluing up boards. Here, I'll flip to the page. The idea is gluing up boards like you see in those top two pictures, and then cutting out the ring to achieve the look, and when you stack it up it'll look real cool. And that's what the Carol Rothman, that's the double swag bowl. But I'm not going to be making it like a vase type and sanding it. It'll be more of the wobble bowl look, and it'll only have the purple in it. But I'll show you a little blank that I made. This is out of Purple Heart and Poplar, but I'll be re-gluing up some boards. This is just a test thing, and it's not a very good job, but this is what the boards will look like glued together. We will cut out the pattern on top of them here, and then when we stack them up and glue them together, we'll achieve a unique look, and I don't even know what it'll look like, but I got the idea actually from a guy on the forum. I don't recall the name of the post it was, but it looked pretty cool, so we'll be trying that out. Again, the woods I'll be using is Purple Heart and Poplar to achieve the nice contrast look. And I've cut out strips that are approximately an inch in width, and I will glue them together, and I will set the pattern on top, cut them out, and then stack them up, glue them together, and see how it'll look. So again, I don't know exactly how it'll look, so right now I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. And to do that, I'll be using some Titebond glue, and I won't do the gluing on camera because I don't have all the stuff prepared and it's a hassle, but I'll just glue each edge, put them together, and use some quick release bar clamps to put them together. Alright, so here's my setup after the glue up. I wrapped it in wax paper, that way I wouldn't have the board stick to the workbench, or this what I call a flattening, straightening piece of wood, whatever you want to call it, to keep it nice and flat when it's glued up. That way it doesn't, bring these things together and cup up from the pressure on them. Because this is gluing together the final thickness of the wood that I'll be using to even cut it, since I don't have a jointer or a planer or a big drum sander to clean up all the or to de-thickness it from the glue up, because usually you would glue up thicker boards and then plane them down to get your final thickness, but since I don't have that, I go straight from the already half-inch or whatever wood I'm using. So gluing it up, I have to make sure it's nice and flat the whole time, because then I'll just go over here to my sander here and flatten it the best I can and get all the dry glue off. So that is the glue set up there. So again, I just have this piece of Purple Heart, much strong piece of wood to keep it all flat. So I have a clamp on that. So after that's all dry, I'll be right back with you to put the pattern on, and we'll cut it out and see how it all stacks up. Alright, excuse the noise, and hope you can hear me. I installed an air conditioner the other day because it got really darn warm out here, so a little roughed up job. I still have to paint around it because you can see my Sharpie lines from when I cut the drywall, but you know, I don't really care what it looks like. It serves a purpose and keeps us cool out here. So with this, the clamps are all off of it, and you can see a lot of squeeze out, but that's not a problem. I can just sand that away. And some of the wax paper did stick to it, so I'll just have to sand that until it's gone. But unfortunately, I do not have a jointer, planer, or a big hand planes or anything like that, which I wish I had to smooth this all up and true it up. But I'll just have to take it over to my belt sander and get it to the stage of looking like this, sort of. Well, it's still pretty glued up, but better than that. So I will be back with you after I have all this sanded smooth, and we'll be ready to put the pattern on it and cut it out. Alright, so now that we have our piece all sanded off and it's completely smooth, you see nice seams there. You can't tell the glue was over there, so it's nice. The sander did a good job on it. And again, it would have made quicker work if I had even a hand plane or even a planer or jointer, but that's alright. Now we can attach our pattern like usual, and I will try to center it the best I can on here. That way everything lines up with the two strips. That way it doesn't look weird when it's stacked up. But again, I have no idea how it will look because I've never tried something like this. You would usually cut out like a vase or a bowl that doesn't have the rings like the wobble bowl, but this is just something I'm trying out to show you guys. So go ahead and attach the pattern like usual, and I'll be right back with you. I already have the pattern on our piece of wood we're going to be using, and now we can go over to the scroll saw and start cutting it out. Well, first I have to do the entry holes, and then I'll do that. Alright, here we're over at the scroll saw, and the blade I selected for this is a Ultra Reverse Tooth number 3, and I chose a 3 because of the corners that we'll be going into will be a little sharp, so when we make that turn we need a smaller blade to make that turn. And then I would have chose a big one because the Purple Heart that we'll be cutting through is really hard, so we'll just have to take it slow through there so we don't chance burning up our blade or ruining this piece here. And then once we get into the poplar, we'll have to be careful, that way we don't accidentally go too quick on that, since it's softer wood. So battling with the two woods here, with the softer and harder, it will be a little bit of a challenge, but it should be alright. So let's get started here. So as you can see, that turned out pretty good. Now we'll throw that, or not throw it, we'll set that to the side, and we'll finish up cutting here, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright, we're back for the last cut. Alright, we're off the scroll saw, and I just stacked them all up, well, in the form that they were before I cut them out. So it's easier to sand and all that. So I'll do is I'll just peel off the pattern, I'll start sanding, and then I will orientate them stacking wise to see how they'll look, and then we'll be right back with you. Alright, we have all the pattern off there. Now we can go ahead and use our sander, again the quarter sheet, and I'll just go ahead and do 220 right away, and we'll see how it'll look. Alright, so it's all sanded. Now what we want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and take this all apart now. And the way it's together, from the scroll saw, it's all, aligned in the grain and all that. I want to sort of mix it up and see what sort of, see it was like that. And it could go back like that and create that thing. I'm going to zoom in here and show you. So what if we maybe turned it one and then it would create like a spiral or something, since it alternated that way. So then let's put in another and see what that looks like. So it would be like this. Now one, now two, now it's like that. So I'll go in a little bit closer here to show you guys right there. Now you can see on some of the ends it's going to be weird looking, but it's sort of spiraling. So, and that right there I can't really help because it just cut right on the edge of a piece of poplar. But I'm going to see how that'll look, so I'll go ahead and stack it all up like that. And then we'll see what it'll look like and see if we want to glue it that way or what it'll look like. Alright, so I have it all stacked up now. And I guess you would call it the uneducated of what it would look like at the end spiral bowl. But it sort of has a unique look to it. See, like from the bottom, then I just alternated them and they go around. And then at the also with the poplar, it gets bigger as it goes to the top. Because you see it has more of the poplar on the top rings and more of the Purple Heart at the bottom. But it's just something unique looking, and I don't know, we'll go ahead and glue it up now and see what it'll look like in the end after the clear coat's on it. So to glue this up, I'll go ahead and use the clear gel tacky glue, and that makes it nice because the squeeze out is clear. So what I usually do is just take a scrap piece of wood and squirt the glue onto it, and then use a little craft brush that you can find for a pack for a couple dollars at Walmart or whatever. So I'll just start with one layer at a time and orientate it like it was before there. So I will glue on the ends of it, and everybody knows how to glue up a wobble bowl. If you don't, then look at my past videos, I go more in depth. But go ahead and just repeat this process with each ring. Let's continue that process until you get to the top. Alright, once you get it all glued up like that, you can be careful and flip it over, and I will set a weight on it. And that and that weight's just your ordinary brick, and that will supply plenty of pressure to hold that together. So I'll be right back with you. See, it turned out pretty good. Look at that swirl on that thing. So it actually turned out better than the dry run, so that's pretty good. Alright folks, the bowl is out of the clamping pressure of the brick, and the glue is dry. Now I'm more happier with this than I thought, because it actually did turn out to be something worth looking at here. It's got that nice swirl pattern and the two sides there. And the rest is just big blobs of whatever, but you know what, I think it looks pretty cool. So with it looking cool, I'm not just going to give it a clear coat, I'm going to be giving it a bath in lemon oil. And this is the kind that I've always used. It's Old English. You can get it at Walmart in the cleaning section, and works really good. And of course, before you lemon oil it or finish it, I went ahead and signed it. Alright, so what we have here is a little station I have. This is just a draining pan for whatever you can use it for. You can drain your car's oil or whatever, but today I'll use it as a little drip drain area for the lemon oil. What I have here is just a little Tupperware container that I have the lemon oil stored in, with the rag that I have to apply the lemon oil to the work here. So I'll zoom in here and give you a better look. So what I'll do is just I wish I had some doctor gloves or whatever they are, because this tends to get a little messy, but I'll just wipe it on like this, and you can just get a lot on there and just drip it around. That way you can get each little nook and cranny. And this is actually turning the poplar a little yellow because it is lemon. So it doesn't give it a bad look though, I don't think. So once that's done, I can set it to the side and let it drip dry for now. And then I'll set it on another paper towel outside the bin and let it finish drying. And I'll let that dry for I'll do it all day. That way it's nice and dry, and then I'll go back and spray it with a lacquer to seal the lemon, and it'll be pretty much done. Alright, so after about half a day outside drying, I let it dry, and as you can see, I don't know about the lighting, but the poplar sort of looks a little bit yellow, and I noticed that when I put the lemon oil on it, because it is a white wood, it didn't really bring out a grain on it, it just made it yellow. So it almost looks like this is made out of a purple heart and yellow heart, which is sort of cool looking. So see, the swirl did sort of come out there, so I'm happy about that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and give it a clear coat. And on the form I had asked about what sort of lacquers or clear coats you guys use, because I have used Deft in the past to cover up lemon oil, and somebody suggested Rust-Oleum lacquer, and somebody said about a different kind than this, but this is what I found at Walmart at the time, so I'm gonna go ahead and try it. And this will cover up the lemon oil scent and the nasty lemony feeling that you get when you touch it, but it has had time to soak in and dry. And correct me if I'm wrong, but or don't even listen to me, but with lacquer you don't have to sand between coats or use like a steel wool. But what I will do is I'll just let that sit there and put a couple more coats on it, of course, and then I'll show it off when it's done. So here again is the finished bowl. I guess I will call it the Swirl bowl. The idea was from Carol Rothman's book of bowls on the scroll saw, where you glue up boards together and achieve the unique look. It's more so with vases and stuff. Please excuse background noise, some neighbors are mowing. And so this one was made out of Purple Heart and Poplar. And the poplar did turn a little bit yellow from the lemon oil, but I think it makes it look cool, like it's a yellow heart or something. And again, with me making this sort of swirl by shifting over the piece, one segment each time to create the swirl, it makes the grain not line up. So if you're one of those stickly people about the grain has to be in the same orientation all the way down the wall of the bowl, but for me, you can't really tell that much because this purple heart is darker and the grain isn't as visible, and then this white poplar doesn't have a good, distinctive grain like maybe a zebra would. That's going pretty far-fetched there, but you can't necessarily tell the grain as you just look at it like that. So this was just in my little try at gluing up boards together, and again, it would have been a heck of a lot easier to glue up thicker boards, plane them down, then glue up the final thickness that we had, but a little bit of work over at the belt sander helped clean up the glue joints and all that, so it turned out pretty good. The clear coat I used I really like it, the Rust-Oleum lacquer, and thanks again for the person on the forum. The name was Mrs. N, I believe, so thank you for suggesting that. I would do a shellac or something, but to me that process is a little bit more than just spraying on a clear coat. You have to maybe sand in between or steel wool. I just want something, plus in the budget of just getting it done pretty quick for you guys here. And that really made it nice and smooth as well. I didn't sand in between coats, and put on about 3 coats to get that nasty feeling of the lemon oil out, and it doesn't smell like lemons at all either. So I think this was a successful project. So thank you guys for watching this video. Next episode I'll be making some toast tongs that will help out, you know, when you're getting your toast out. And that idea was originally going to be from a post that Steve Good had made, but a guy on the forum by the name of Ray Hayes, or EIEIO, had a post that he made. So I'm going to use his idea that he granted me permission to use that. So look forward to that video. I'm Dustin.
And I'm Dylan.
We'll see you next time on the Country Scroller.